All right, session 5. So session 5 is chapter 4 and chapter 5. Calming the biggest I think story here is he's calming the storm, but he's also doing some healings. I think. Um, so yeah, Mindy, what struck out to you about session 5?
Um, well, yeah, it starts out with Jesus calming the storm, and that story just always gets gets me because a lot of these disciples grew up as like on the lake, right? Like some of them were fishermen and they knew how to handle boats and storms, and for that to just kind of come out of nowhere, and meanwhile, like Jesus is fast asleep, like while the disciples think they're going to die,
Right.
and Jesus is just snoozing away, like no big deal. But then, like they knew. Let me see how I can word this. They knew how to handle it,
right?
But they couldn't, right? Like that's the kind of thing, asking for help,
right?
We were just talking about. But they didn't necessarily ask for help. They were just like, Jesus, you're gonna let us die?
Don't you care?
Don't you care? And,
right. Which is a pretty like bold statement, like saying, based on what Jesus has been doing,
right?
Right?
Obviously, like, he cares.
Right? Like, you don't care about us? Like, he's like, well, I called you into this life together, and I've been, like, teaching you, and we've been doing this together. Of course I care about you, right? Like, where's your faith in me?
Yep. Yeah, but then Jesus is like, yep, be calm, be still, quiet, and immediately, again, it's an immediate thing. It's calm. And the disciples' reaction is very similar to the reaction of the people in the first session of, wait, who is this guy?
Right.
But the disciples have been with Jesus. Like, they know who he is, but they were still just like, wait a minute, this is different now.
This is more than just an interpersonal healing or like Jesus touching somebody or Jesus having like, you know, in an interaction. Jesus doesn't even have to touch the water, right? He just speaks.
Yeah, and then nature just...
And it obeys. Right? So that's like, I think that's the next level of authority.
Yeah.
And for them, you know, the Sea of Galilee in the Middle Eastern cultures, the sea was kind of like seen as a manifestation of darkness. And so you even see that Jesus has authority over the things that seem dark, that can suddenly turn on you, and you know, that's where evil kind of resides, but Jesus has authority even over that.
Yeah. So I guess from that, it's like Jesus was in the disciples' life. Like, that's what they knew. So to me, this is comforting of whatever storm I might be going through or we might be going through. Like, Jesus is there.
He's literally
there. He understands
it.
He gets it. He's in the boat with us.
Right. And he has authority over it, right? Like, regardless of how we're experiencing it, we have to recognize that he has a much different perspective, and he still has authority over it. And, you know, the passage in Romans, neither life nor death, angels nor demons, nothing can separate us from the love of God our Father. And that's ultimately him there, right? Is that life or death, that will happen. But he's still there, and he still has authority over that. And that love that he's there with you, that never goes away. And I think something that Francis said that I think we both kind of were like, whoa, is that in this session 5, hopefully you guys are watching it, he's like, we are begging people to follow Jesus these days, right? Like, we're like, please pray, please read your Bible, please come to church. And he's like, no, that it should be the other way around. We should be begging to follow Jesus. Like, the maker of the known universe is inviting us into a life with him. We should be like falling at his feet, ready to do whatever it takes. And just that mind shift there. It's like, oh yeah, we're just trying to just please come and please be part of this. And
I think Francis kind of posed the question, like, where is our faith? If we're not, why are we begging for this? Like, and even in my own life too, like, we don't want the interruption. We don't want and so it's like, no, like, everything is bigger, and the interruptions are there for a reason. And so,
the question Francis kind of poses, are you just fitting him into your life?
Yeah.
And that's that lordship question again too, right?
Yeah.
Is that when he's Lord of all, he's either Lord of all or not at all, right? It's not just, he's not a piece of the pie chart, right? Like that's not what he calls us to in the walk of discipleship.
Yeah.
So.